Adam Grant, the author of this book, begins his introduction by talking about the painful incident called the Tragedy of Man Gulch, which occurred on the 5th day of August 1949, when 15 men jumped from the top of the sky of Montana to Mount Man Gulch in the United States of America. Adam Grant says they were not fans of parachuting, but they were fire extinguishers, and the reason for their name being smoke jumpers and not firefighters is because they are a trained squad dedicated to putting out forest fires. The team descended on Mount Man Gulch and they started heading down to Missouri River, and after covering a long distance, the foreman of the team, Captain Wagner Dog, realized that putting out the fire is nothing but a fantasy, because he saw in front of him a flame up to more than 9 meters high heading towards them and his team. The fire could cover a distance of 3 football fields in less than a minute. Wagner's order was clear: take off your gear and save your lives. The team received this order at 5:45 in the evening, and they actually turned around and started trying to climb the top of the mountain of Man Gulch. And of course, going up is not the same as going down. The team traveled 200 yards within 3 or 4 minutes, and as soon as he realized this thing, the captain stopped running and started setting fire to the most of the trees around him. The team was surprised by the matter, and above this he was shouting at them and asking them to come with him to face the fire. The team here was confused. Do we follow the captain's orders and go to the fire that he ignited, or flee to the top of the mountain before the flames devour us? And the expected thing happened, which is that they continued running to the top of the mountain and disobeyed the captain's dubious and strange orders. Within 11 minutes, the fire swept the place and devoured the members of the team, and 3 people survived this tragic incident, 2 of whom managed to precede the fire and reach the top of the mountain before it was too late. And the last survivor is foreman Wagner's Dog, because he knew that the race with this fire was settled. While covering 200 yards in 3 minutes running, the fire behind them was cutting 600 yards in less than a minute, so he knew that the matter was settled and began to ignite the trees around him, and then took the first kit and extinguished it, and this is in order to try to cut off the fuel from the fire. He knew that the fire, once it reaches the trees around him, will use it as fuel to devour him, and this is what made him burn it and prevent the fire from being used as fuel. And indeed, after he extinguished the trees, he lay on the ground prostrate and covered his face and put it on the ground so that he could get oxygen, and stayed ready for fire to reach him. Captain Wagner was engulfed in fire, but he was able to survive this tragic incident. Adam Grant, the author of this book, says that surviving this event has several reasons, the most prominent of which is physical ability. It is possible to be fast and precede a fire to the top of the mountain, but the 4 managers survived because of his mental strength. And once you talk about mental strength, you think that we are talking about intelligence, but the author tells you indeed the mental strength has to do with intelligence, and intelligence is defined as the ability to think and learn. And indeed, the definition is correct if the universe in which we live is ideal, but the universe in which we live is volatile because it combines opposites, a thing and its opposite. If intelligence means thinking in normal state, intelligence also means the need of rethinking, and if intelligence means learning, it means at the same time not learning. He explained this saying, intelligence is traditionally viewed as the ability to think and learn, and yet a turbulent world. It's also the ability to rethink and unlearn. This is exactly what happened at that moment, when Wagner lit the fire and called out the team. The team, when they saw the situation, this was the opposite to all their beliefs and everything they learned. They are in the end of the day smoke jumpers who extinguish fire, not light it up. In their beliefs, they run away from the fire and do not go to it. Wagner at that time abandoned all the ideas he inherited and all the information he gained and retaught very quickly, and was able to invent the so-called escape fire. And one of the survivors, when he gave his testimony about the incident, said that they were never trained about something called escape fire. And this wasn't a criticism to Wagner, but as if he was saying, why didn't anyone teach us about this? And indeed, it was one of the innovations of foreman Wagner's mentality, and this was so miraculous that people have written books and studies on him. What happened in those 11 minutes gave us one of the most important life lessons that can change our lives or our future. Adam Grant says, imagine that you were in a multiple choice test, and once you finish the test, you begin to doubt one of the answers as wrong. He says that 3/4 of students who go through this condition believe that changing the answer will affect the result negatively. As 2 researchers reviewed 32 students and found that most students who change their answers change it from the wrong answer to the correct one. And this phenomenon is called the first instinct fallacy. This phenomenon makes you feel that changing your first choice is painful, and that changing this choice will change from right to wrong. Specialists from Illinois reviewed 1,500 student papers to understand this phenomenon, where they were counting the places where the students surveyed his answer, and found that half of the students who changed their answers changed from wrong to right, while the other quarter changed change from right to wrong, and the remaining quarter from wrong to wrong. Adam Grant tells you that the real problem is not that we are reluctant to change our answer, but that we are reluctant to rethink. Adam says that there is another experiment where hundreds of students were lectured on the phenomenon of the first instinct fallacy, and they explained everything to them about this phenomenon and asked them to rethink and not wrestle with changing the results. Adam explained this to us and says that the main reason for this is that we are lazy. We prefer comfort in conviction to discomfort in doubt. We walk with ease, sticking to beliefs than difficulty in abandoning them. And whoever does not change perishes. 12 people were omitted in the Mangolsh incident because they did not have the ability to rethink, and they clung to their beliefs and tools to the point that one survivor said that he did not realize that he was still carrying firefighting tools with him until after he ran for a long time, even though it was hindering him from running. And even when he decided to give them up, he went to put them under a tree. Then he knew that he was really crazy, threw it away without any interest, and continued running. And indeed, he reached the top of the mountain and survived. And we in life live the same incident where there is fire behind us. We thought it was quiet, but it changed and headed toward us. So we had to escape and change our beliefs to survive our lives. If you want to succeed, my friend, you need to rethink. It may be that everything you think is right is wrong. You have to have flexibility that allows you to survive. And as Adam Grant said, we believe that everything will survive, even though all signs say that the situation is different, and therefore we must change. You do not have to cling to everything. Rethink and be flexible if you want to survive. And this was the end of the video. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like and let us know in the comments below if you have any criticism to the way of presenting these ideas and summaries of books. This would really help us improve the content and present what is best. Anyways, Beatbooks was here, and see you in the next summary.